Start record.
Start recording.
And start broadcast.
Start broadcasting. Oh, we're here. What's going on, everybody?
Hello.
Welcome to this Wednesday's reconfigured episode of Shanahan's Live. Katie's busy working on the Cintiq.
I have a storyboard deadline Friday, so I'm going to be plugging away. Well, we probably should have turned off the air conditioning. Welcome to yet another Wednesday. Exciting Wednesday.
Yes, so exciting that I'm looking forward to the topics everyone else brings to this episode.
Oh boy.
So if you guys have something you want to chat about, my week's been very work-filled. That we can talk about that if you're excited to learn about the drudgeries of day-to-day animation. Mm-hmm. Is this a learning show?
Maybe I should.
No? Maybe?
Can I show stuff? Yeah.
Katie's here.
I actually can't show stuff. Hey guys. Yeah.
Strong Bad's here.
I'm working on. Yeah, you are Strong Bad.
It's funny that because recently a lot more of that Homestuck was coming up. When I first heard Homestuck, I'm like, Homestar? He's like, no, Homestuck. I'm like, oh, okay. And I've yet to really follow up on any Homestuck, but apparently Neil Gaiman was made a tweet about the Kickstarter they're doing, and he basically said, like, let's see how quickly a couple of teens can rack up like $1 million. And I sit there being like,
they're at 666,000 right now.
Yeah,
I think.
And I just sit there being like,
amazing.
man, when I was a kid, like youth, and was ambitious with ideas, and the internet didn't exist yet, that would have been swell.
Yeah. But, I mean, you need the project going, and that's a really popular...
We had projects!
No, but I mean stuff that's online if people are reading.
Online didn't exist yet!
Oh, well. We wouldn't have had
all we had was Sailor Moon and Spice Girl shrines!
Yeah.
Oh. Would have been a time, but hey, take this opportunity, you guys sitting at home right now who's all like, I got nothing to do and I wish I was rich. Use this time now to make things.
Just so you can be rich.
Well, no, okay, I don't need to be rich, but it's more about productivity, because I have made that observation over the years that the youth of today, in fact, the youth of every generation, back in the day there was no such thing as a teenager. You went to school, which was a single classroom, and all the classes were all held in the same room from grade whatever to oldest grade, and then you worked the farm in your off time, and then as soon as you're out of school, you were a man or a woman, and that was it. There was no teens, there was no youth, there was no time off. Then the 70s came around, and there were teens everywhere. Who knows how that happened?
I think it was the 60s.
I don't care.
You seem very energetic for not caring. Like, really.
Point being is...
Come to my house, you steal my food.
Thank you. Long story short, what this is getting to is when you put stuff over the screen and now I can't see.
Sorry, I'm just seeing stuff.
Nowadays, all right, let's talk more technologically.
Get stuff out of the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got a lot of. Actually, I'm hiding the chat, so I will move this here.
We'll move the chat over here behind the microphone. So when we were youth, we were fortunate enough to have a photocopier. So if we wanted to make comics, you'd draw it and then photocopy it, and then you staple it, and there you go, happy day. I didn't have to go to like Kinko's or nothing. That didn't exist at the time.
Wait,
but nowadays, what?
Wait, you had a photocopy?
Didn't we?
Not everybody had a photocopy.
No, but I'm saying we did.
No, just because for mom and dad's business, yeah.
But we had access to a photocopier, so that was our level up.
Yeah.
We were like, we can now photocopy comics.
But I mean, even having our own photocopy, it wasn't like, now we can distribute and make hundreds of these things.
No.
And send, like, it was more just the love of, here's something I made. And
that's true, yeah.
I'm going to give it out to friends at school, and I don't know if they still have those copies.
Oh yeah, and for those not in the know, there was a Sailor Moon fan comic, fully 40 plus pages, I think.
Yeah, it kind of went off
printed.
the rails.
It just kind of kept going. A great tribute to the greatest scout of course.
No one will ever
Sailor
see.
Mercury.
Yeah.
And there was only maybe 12 copies in existence, I think, of that. It was pretty funny though.
I had fun working on it.
But the point is, what I'm getting at is nowadays, these kids. Like, when you have your time off, when we had our time off, we'd make little paper comics. We'd draw on it, staple it or so. Or in the case of a lot of my work, I used to make comics back in the day. I used to draw full, I had 2 series, which I made maybe 2 chapters of each. Or maybe 1.5 of one and 2 of the other. Maybe just 1 of each. I don't know. So it wasn't really a series as much as it was one installment. But the point was, the furthest I could go in the short term was just draw it on paper, and then that was kind of the end of it, and I could photocopy if I wanted to. But nowadays, with your internets and your Photoshops and your easy access and all this good stuff, you guys could distribute as soon, and you all know this, I'm just stating it so it's obvious. As soon as you've made it, you can distribute it and send it out there, and also make it lucrative in a crazy way that it just wasn't, it was possible maybe for us to do it as kids, but print a copy and leave it at the local comic shop and hope someone bought it, maybe, like at best. That's what we could have done. But nowadays, man, you get it online. You can have it downloadable to whatever format you want. It's incredible. And the reason I make this distinction between adults doing this and kids doing it is that was, when we were kids, we did that in our spare time. You know, it was like after school, you could watch cartoons, have some snacks, and go
time
play.
Just seemed to go on forever.
Or you could also draw. And you do it as kind of a hobby. But now, since kids have the exact kind of same spare time as we did, but all these crazy tools, not only can they put the time into making things, but they can also put time into learning about distribution practices and, you know, building a fan base properly and all this crazy stuff. And using Kickstarter and things to build your company.
Even just the access to information you have now. Or like, how do I publish something? How do I improve drawing this? Like, there's infinite resources to use now online. Whereas before, you'd need to know what the right book was and maybe know someone who could recommend it to you, and then you'd buy it, or where
you'd have to go to the art store to get your anatomy. If you want to see how to draw a horse, you either had to get the encyclopedia and
but
volume
now there's
H.
so much reference and just tutorials.
Or buy a horse toy or something. Go to the local educational shop. So now it's basically, you guys have no excuse not to be like making.
Why is this becoming a rant at young people?
No. Okay,
hi, welcome to the show. By the way, I'm Katie. This is my brother Shaggy.
And I'm encouraging you all that you have no excuse not to be crazy successful nowadays. The point being, it's like this is what I'm bringing it all home. Bringing it all back to. When you have the spare time and this amount of technology and information, and you have more time to learn at a faster rate than we possibly could have when we were younger, aside from us, like, if we happen to know someone who worked at a comic shop or know someone who made comics, and like we can like sit down and chat with them. And it's just like, it's incredible the access everyone has nowadays, but the time as well, because now that, you know, we're past being youth and we're working full time and stuff like that.
We're so old.
We don't have that after school, you know, before dinner or whatever, break time to be like, I'm just gonna mess around and learn about comics. It's just like, man, I'm kind of envious. In the same way with video editing. Like, as a kid, I had no access to video editing. At the most, we had the family video JVC camera that you can then record and press pause, change the camera angle, record, press pause, change the camera angle. Nowadays, you guys have access to full-fledged video studio equipment that was unfathomable at the time. You know, to do what you do now on a laptop or on a phone, you needed a whole deck. Mm-hmm. You needed the reel-to-reel.
Okay, that's what that was.
It was that, because basically you had two VHSs and then you recorded one to the other, and then each copy just got worse and it wasn't even worth doing after a while. And you had the cassette player that you had to get your sound effects exactly at the right second when you press play and record. And it's just like,
well, I mean, everything is always, it's always improving. And think about it, generation before us, it's like the stuff we had access to.
Oh yeah, definitely.
People back then didn't have.
Like a
computer that wasn't ginormous.
They didn't have calculators, and we did.
Like stone tablets and chiseling away, like we have paper and things.
I feel like though there was more of a creative leap. Like up until us, it was all like technological leaps. And I feel like right after that was creative leaps. It was more like not just like, oh, it's a phone and it's smaller. It's like, oh, it's a editing suite in your pockets. Happened in between. Like it felt like technology improved because pen on paper has basically been around forever. And then it was like right then that's like, oh hey, now it's on computer. Boom, as opposed to calculators. It was more like a gradual. Like certain technologies evolving was more gradual. Or else like art just kind of went poof, as soon as like they figured out computers could do it. Mm-hmm. And it's been going since then. And so I'm very jealous of all you kids who now have all the spare time to do it and learn it and become way better than us.
I'm jealous because you know what you can do? You can give yourself your own spare time. You can work enough, and this is what I do. I work enough that I can save up money to buy myself time off to work on the things I want to work on. And I don't have to,
buy myself
deal with classes. I don't have to deal, I can buy myself a year where I teach myself to do things.
You blocked the chat again.
Did I? Oops, sorry.
Okay, he's putting Windows on top of Windows.
I'm working on stuff.
Let's see. We got some people saying some things. Progress. Yeah, I found the best personal work time was right after work, but before dinner.
After dinner, it's hard because you just want to relax.
Downside, I'm hungry right after work.
But yeah, I mean, even just an hour or two a week, or a day, it does really add up. Just little times. I found, for me, just because. I don't know. I get a little bit stressed out because it's like my storyboarding takes a lot of time. I'm like, I want to work on my own projects, but I'm finding it's just after work, it's exhausting. I can't really have that same energy after a long day of drawing to work on what I want to work on. So I found that the best way to do that is I have to get up earlier, and like 1 or 2 hours before work, you wake up and you're fresh and you're good to go, and that's when you work on your projects. And then after that, you're ready to go. Okay, 9 o'clock, my work day start. Then I start working. But it's the only way I could chisel in time for me is to do it beforehand. And 1 or 2 hours, 1 hour a day doesn't seem like a whole lot, but over a week, over a month, it's a lot of time you're giving to yourself instead of just being like, there's no time to draw. Like, I'm really trying to figure out this. Well, it's not even work-life balance. It's just like, making it make sense.
A lot of like people, like there's artists out there who have families and jobs, and they still manage to get like.
They're just really well disciplined, so it's
they have that discipline. But like, also just bring all this up because I've been working like 12-hour to 16-hour days lately, and I've just been like getting home just in time to go to sleep and wake up to leave again. Yeah. And it's just like, and I realize my writing has really been lacking. Like, of all things, writing especially, like just for the sake of writing. Like I write for the YouTube stuff, and it's just like, that's all well and good. It's quick execution. I wrote it, and then a few days later it's done. But like more long-term series and be them animation or a comic, I've been really wanting to just get into it and like spend a good chunk of hours. But like I need normal work hours again.
But we're working in jobs that don't necessarily have them though. And I mean, like you were describing your shift yesterday, you were at the studio till 4 until you actually had work to do.
That was odd.
I mean, technically, it's hard to do creative work in an office or like your own work because you feel like,
people over your shoulders being like, you're on my clock.
Yeah.
And you're making money doing your own thing. I used to get away with that at other jobs because I just didn't care. But here it's like that was mainly because also my back was to a wall, so no one could see my screen. So I'm like, I'm doing my own thing. I love that. Getting paid to write my own comics.
I find anytime I'm in studio, it's like my desk is facing the most crowd of people, so I can't even do anything that's not work. It's like, what are you doing there?
But that's the thing. Like, it's like I remember. I forget what I wrote some comic or something back when I worked at a different job, and then I'm like, this is the first time I was paid to write comics. Wink, because I was basically paid for some other job I wasn't doing at the time.
Yeah.
But I was just like, but it's just when your back is to the whole studio, everyone's like, what you writing? Or on top of that, I actually haven't even opened any like personal software on my work computer. I haven't accessed like my email. I just use my phone for all that, but I don't want to type on my phone. So I almost wish I had like like a little tablet or laptop there. I was like, we got Gene draw stuff this year.
TV Dinner says, I'll remember you when I'm famous, Shaggy. So nice of you!
Gene Drosta says, I get so angry with projects I work on at work that just fuels me to work when I get home.
That's good. Anger works.
So anger fuels my art, which probably sounds bad.
No, but that's a passionate thing. Because it's when you're at work, maybe ultimately the client is who gets final say, not you. So you might think you have a better vision of something. You might feel that, but my idea is so much better, but, it's not your project, it's their project. So if that frustrates you, take it to your own work.
I've given up having a vision. I'm just like...
No, but it's terrible.
But not for my own work.
Okay.
At the
but
job,
I mean, you're there to
help
help them get what they want to look awesome. And then if it's not necessarily making you feel creatively satisfied, you take that home and you're like, I can't have a character sit still for 5 seconds. My whole comic's gonna be a character sitting around thinking. Like, you just kind of take that and use it. That's fine.
Yeah, definitely.
It's healthy anger.
Yeah, healthy anger.
Use that anger, Gene.
Channel it, Gene. It's easy to forget the gift of drawing for a living, and says Proto Wilson. And Gene says, so rule of thumb, don't work on your own stuff in the studio. Oh.
It's fun to sketch there. It's it's funny what you say, Proto, because it's true. Like, I'm super friggin' lucky to be able to do this for a living, but like, I don't know. Some days it's just like, I'm having such a hard day, and blah blah blah. And Jerry comes home and I'm like, I was drawing, and it's like, well, you get to draw for a living.
Yeah.
I couldn't make this look the way I wanted to, and then it's just slapping yourself in the face and being like, hey, I have it pretty good.
Yeah.
So
But it's a thing of like doing what you want for a living or doing what you want for yourself for a living. That's kind of the difference. Because it's like, I love doing video graphics and editing and audio and all that stuff. But it's like, would you rather do that for someone else or do it for yourself?
No. But I mean, I think I'd love to do it for myself. But ideally, how do you make a living?
Yeah.
So
if it was for myself, it wouldn't be a living, would it?
And if it was for myself, it'd be me in a corner just doodling.
So that's why I'm going to be making all my new books on tape series put on iTunes. So you can all buy chapters for 99 cents each. Apple gets 30%. So I'll end up with...
for nothing. Yeah.
So if you guys are interested in that, go and do that. None of this Kickstarter business. I'm just gonna go straight for iTunes and be like, here it is, buy each chapter.
Yeah, Gene was saying, rule of thumb, don't work on your own stuff in the studio because studios can own it. The last studio I was in, I forget what it was called, but I had to sign I asked them to fill out a form just so I could keep my own property because on the side I was working on Extra Silly Kingdom. So I just wanted to make sure.
In-house or freelance?
Freelance, but I just wanted to make sure it didn't cross over. So I forget exactly what the contract was, but you can sign a contract that says this is my project that you guys don't own, and I'm working on it out of work time.
It's like I don't know if it was all true, but I was in the old Disney rumors of being like, oh, anything you worked on they own, and some guy was just drawing a sketchbook
you just gotta be aware of the rights.
Last year came by and went, gotcha, and took it and made Toy Story.
I don't know. I think Pixar's pretty like encouraging for people to have their own projects.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, because they also have like those art books. Like even Double Fine has like their own like side comics. Like basically everyone there like works on their own project.
Yeah, most people there have their own short films or comics they're working on.
Would you recommend going into the animation industry, storyboarding especially? It says, Tim.
Yeah, I definitely think storyboarding, well, for me, it's my favorite place to be in this industry. I mean, I know I complain when stuff gets hard, but I mean, when you're working late days, it's just like, I want to go outside and run around.
If it was like a 9-to-5 job, it'd be the perfect job. But I mean, it's not 9-to-5.
It's fun. I love the character acting.
It's every time until all time.
Well, I mean, I love the character acting. I like being able to, I mean, you're working with the director and the client, the story, the series owner and your director. You're working with them to pretty much make the show. You know, you're figuring out all the acting, the story points. It's fun. I really do. I do recommend storyboarding. Like, I think it is the best place to, in my opinion, to be in the, because I like to. I don't have the patience to, I guess, do the finer points of animating a scene. Like, I kind of want to tell the story beats and move on and
almost like a comic.
It's kind of like a comic. So, I mean, I love comics so much, and that's, you know, comics, I will say, is my first love, because that's, you know, I've been making comics since I was like 7, 8. You know, I still make them when I can, and storyboarding relates pretty similarly to that. More film than paper book format, but still a lot of similarities. No, I really like it.
I think I gotta get back to the more like character-driven stuff myself.
Oh, totally.
Like a lot of the animation work I've done, like for my whole career, has been motion graphic, and rarely anything that's like more like it's more about presenting things versus giving something life per se. And like I feel like I'm stronger, though in no means am I an animator of any sort as far as character art and you know, actual drawings of characters. I do always like more narrative storytelling versus like product storytelling, which is like, this exists!
Yeah.
Buy it!
Sorry
if I yelled at you guys.
Always yelling.
I'll
leave you with the chat because I need to.
Alright, it seems to be a lot of similarities between comics and animation. In as much as I figure with storyboarding, it's kind of like picking what's the key pose you want to suggest movement and action.
I think the main difference, and this is something that I was like, oh yeah, this made sense. With film, because you're dealing with the screen, everything is just making sure the viewer's eye doesn't pop all over the place. So you want to make sure your cutting is seamless. And when you're working with comics, depending on what you're working with, a book or the web, you know, your format will lend to that. So sometimes I'll see people in a comic page, they'll flip the axis. And if you don't know what that means, it's like in a film, if you flip the camera around, it's jarring because the characters are suddenly on the wrong side of the screen. But in a comic, you can do that because the eye isn't staring at that little box of a screen. So, you know, moving your eye around the page or down the screen, it doesn't suddenly become jarring. And so you can flip stuff around and do things you wouldn't do in film to make the eye travel across a page better. So yeah, it's similar just in your storytelling and your character acting. And, you know, maybe in a comic you won't outline every single action that's happening. I've seen it in some, and I always like that. The animation of me is like, oh yeah, there we go. I like seeing those little bits added in. But yeah, it's working with your format just to make the viewer's experience seamless so that they're not jarred by the image and they can follow the story. And it's a lot of trial and error, because I mean, I look at a lot of my first comics and it's just like your eye is like missing the character, and then like panels when you have to point the arrow to like go to this panel.
Yeah, or like read word bubble this one, then read this word bubble.
Yeah, you want to make it pretty seamless because you don't want to take the reader out of the story. Yeah. And the same with with storyboarding. You don't want the person to be like, wait, where'd that character go? Like, who am I looking at? It's telling your story and making it a seamless experience.
Let's see. Tim Lell was saying, I was talking to Stephen Damon at Con Bravo, and
Yes.
he seemed pretty down on the animation industry at the time. Oh, you mean hating? Why would you hate? Who's Stephen Damon?
Oh, he's a buddy.
Hey, why is he hating?
He's not hating. It's just you know, it's well, it's I don't know. It's such a huge thing.
Yeah. We're just talking. We could talk about musicals or something. That's easier to hate on.
It's you know, sometimes not every project is fun.
Oh yeah,
And
that's just the truth of it.
You know, sometimes you got to deal kind of with what's around, I guess, and you have to make it fun if it's not necessarily a fun project. I guess I don't know. I mean, you can always bring your own to it. I mean, if it's you know, you can always do your best to plus it and add something to it to make it more fun. I don't really want to rant.
No, I'm not ranting. We're teaching people.
Because it's like, hey, it can't work for anyone anymore. No, but I mean, I can see, because it's like, you know, you look, I haven't worked in full feature yet. I mean, I worked on that Barbie movie that was more a half in between, but I can see people that see a movie going up on the screen. It's like, oh, they really nailed out this story. It was 3 years of storytelling. I really love these characters. Then maybe if you're working on a TV show and it's just like an 11-minute, you're not feeling, you connect with it, you can be kind of disappointed. But I mean, if you don't like that kind of work, there's like, you can always try to find the feature work to, I mean, it's harder. It's a lot harder to get into that. But I don't know. I mean, the animation industry has a lot of ups and downs. There seems to be a lot of work right now.
Yeah, that's
a lot of
good.
projects.
Tamlala thinks I said Tamlala was hating. No, I said Stephen Damon was hating, not you.
Stephen Damon wasn't hating.
But he wasn't. I was suggesting that your suggestion was.
Why are you causing issues?
I know, but anyway, TV Dinner has an interesting question. How do you guys keep motivated during long haul personal projects? I'm about 1.5 years into mine, and I've hit a slow patch. Depending on the type, well, it might not depend on the type of project per se, or let's see how to approach this. Is it a personal project or is it a group project? That will actually be a pretty big game changer. And the other half is also, you sometimes got to remember, why did you start the project in the first place? What was it that you enjoyed about it? It's a personal project. Okay, it's a personal project. Is this comic or is this like a one-man musical number? What are we saying?
We're not going back to musicals.
I'm always trying to segue. Well, I'm trying to do a one-man... One Man Oklahoma. I'm like, you better end that project.
You've ruined musicals for me. I used to be like, this is delightful. Now I'm like, this is just another opportunity for hate.
All right, so graphic novel, gotcha. So that's close to home. We make comics once in a while.
Do we?
Like, what keeps you to it? Like, it's basically like, why did you start the project in the first place? Is it the story? Sometimes you just gotta remember these things. Like, was it the story, the characters? Did you want to introduce the people to the world? Or was there some really funny jokes in there you want to get out there? And the thing with both comics and animation, especially like humor-based, I don't know if yours is humor, but just to point out, if you're a humor writer and you're doing a series, you're going to be going over the same jokes again and again, and you're gradually going to be like, is this funny still? And you just don't know because you've experienced it so many times. And that's when you kind of have to throw it to other people to check it out, or just like stay away from a certain part of your story for a while just to come back and be like, I'm a genius. That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. As far as like what keeps you going on it, yeah, it's basically remember, why
you need that line in the clouds.
Yeah, remember that line in the clouds says, remember who you are and take your rightful place.
Oh yeah.
It's just like any project, like you just gotta remember why you wanted to do it in the first place, and it's not always that too. It's also some projects just kind of end naturally because it's just like, I'm not into this anymore. I'm not motivated to do this. It's not. If it stops being fun, there's something wrong too. If you're forcing yourself to finish it, who's it for then? Is your audience gonna feel like, oh, you can't really judge out the last few pages of that thing or something like that? Or is it, even for yourself, you're like, oh, I didn't like the last half of whatever, it's done, get off my shoulders. So it's, I don't know if I actually said anything coherent in the past 5 minutes, but that's a lot of the projects I started writing way back when. Some of them I still hang on to, but other ones it's just like they've been delayed so long that they're just kind of out of date, and I might like salvage from them.
Yeah,
like,
we cannibalize.
like take the funny plot lines and put them into something else. Like we as kids we wrote a lot. I've not nearly written as much as I used to. And when I mean used to, I mean like every night we were coming up with ideas and writing them down. And some of them are probably still got that like childhood genius in them that's just like, no adult could write this. This is too zany. But then the other half is just like, this is dumb. These jokes are weak.
Yeah.
There's no continuity or something like that. But like a lot of these stories, like we wrote a lot of fantasy stuff long before Silly Kingdom was ever concepted. And it's like, we may never make those things. Probably we're not going to, but, you know, we might have to just accept that. We're not going to make those other series into books or animations or where we wanted to. But if we have something we're doing right now, move all it over to there. As, I believe, was it Kazu, or is this just a general thing that people say? It's kind of like you're always going to come up with more ideas. And if you keep hanging on to one idea forever, you know, and eventually you may not even ever use it. So it's like, why not just get it out there now and accept that you're going to come up with newer, better, different stuff, because you're constantly being informed by different things in life. Like my writing style, I used to try to write more mature stories when I was younger. You know, not mature as in like content-wise, but like it's like stories about, you know, college people when I was in high school based on my assumptions. Now that I've like gone through that life, I know all that was wrong.
Yeah.
And it's just like it was completely inaccurate. But I'm like, now I can write a better version of that. But at the same time, it's like, oh, if I just wrote it at the time and got it out there, I wouldn't have to throw it away later. It would exist in some form. You know, so it's kind of these pros and cons to both. Tuesday says, I'm thinking I'm too far in to quit now. Not that I would. Yeah, like I'm in no way suggesting like you better. This is taking way too long. You better stop.
I think sometimes it's good just to take a break too, and like maybe try like a shorter form story just to do something else for a bit. Just try and work on a short story just to like get that out of the way and just try something different, rejuvenate, and then go back at it. Because sometimes you just really need to like walk away from it for a bit, breathe, and then.
Not only that, you just reminded me of how I used to think, or still do. Sometimes you just need that feel of accomplishment once in a while. And if you're working on a story so long and it hasn't come out yet, sometimes you feel like you're not making anything at all. And so sometimes it's nice just to make a short story, just to be like, I just made something with a beginning, middle, end, and it exists as a package. Here you go. And it's kind of like a nice reminder of like, oh yeah, I do finish things. You know, it's just like, oh, this is done. And that's why it was kind of nice why we kept picking up working on anthology comics. Because it's not like a whole commitment of a series, it's a one-off short.
Well, the anthology comics were good
printed.
Because they showed up at a time. We were really lucky to be invited to do the Flight comics around when, you know, we'd been wanting to make comics for a while. And we had these giant ideas we wanted to work on, but it was like, how do we even get started? So when you're invited to do like a 14-page comic and here's a deadline, it's a lot more manageable to figure out. And when you have a group of really talented peers who can critique your work and tell you how to do better, I mean, that's totally invaluable. So those were awesome, but those came along.
Well, the anthology is also cool because you also get to shift up your style for a bit just for that one project. So it's like, if you're working on this epic fantasy adventure and it's serious and stuff for like years, and you just want to finish something, but you want to be a little different, you can write anything you want completely differently, no continuity, no connection to your major work. It's just like, let's do something dumb, short, silly, serious, funny, I don't know, and just get it out there in a really small window. So maybe if you're feeling like your project's dragging for now, maybe you just need that quick accomplishment of like, let's just make, you know, maybe a couple short strip comics, or maybe just make a short, you know, 5-page story about what the dog did today or what he does for a week when I'm not home. I don't know, anything. There's something, just to be like, there, the short story's done. Something
comic artist Sam Heady said when I'd met him. He's the comic artist. He has a comic called Death Day, which is available on the web, all 2 chapters, I think. But his advice for getting started in comics and just tell short stories. You know, 10 pages. It could suck. If it sucks, it sucks. You tried it, and then you just kind of try. Like, maybe I'll do something funny. Maybe I'll do something personal. Maybe I want to try something a little darker that I can't really implement into my giant story. But like, let's give this a try. And then you've tried it, and you've you know, the best way to get better at something, and you know, some people don't find this advice helpful because it's better to have detailed advice for how to improve, like specifically that you can hold on to, but making something is what's going to help you get better at it ultimately, because you can get all the advice in the world. I mean, all these things, all these heart sticky notes are just tons of advice all over my wall, but the thing that made me get better, the thing that makes me get better at, you know, bit by bit, is making a story, is making a comic, is drawing a board, is pushing through that deadline, is getting it done and just seeing what I'm made of. Just kind of doing it. It seems like we are getting back to the animation talk.
Jane's dragging us back.
No, I gotta say, Tim, like I I don't want to just be like, animation's wonderful, whatever. You know, obviously storyboarding, I mean, it's a lot of hard work. So, I mean, there are going to be days where you're going to have to sacrifice, you know, can't go out and see people, can't, like, you know, sometimes we'll be working weekends, sometimes we'll be really, really tired. If you're willing to put up with that until you can pick up speed, I think it's, you know, okay. I mean, today I had a little bit of a meltdown, like when Jerry came home, I was like, I don't know, storyboards are so hard, and I'm drawing all the time, but I don't have time to work on what I want to work on. So if he's listening downstairs, he's like, what's she talking about? But I mean, you know, ultimately you're going to get faster, and you're going to pick up a lot of cinematic knowledge that you'll keep in your head, and formula that you can turn to, that you know how to, I mean, and how shall I describe it exactly? You kind of pick up instincts as you go that'll make it easier. And it's going to be hard. And like Jean said, it takes what? 12 what did you say? 12 years? Oh my God.
12 years? What do the Pixar
You know what?
story?
That's about 12 years. For
Unless
Pixar
you made it web famous in the early 2000s.
I've been working in animation for about 7.
You're one of those big flash animators who just hit and ran right at the beginning.
I've been working about 7 years. I've been working as a storyboard artist for maybe 3 or 4 years. So, I mean, I am still very much starting out at this. And, you know, I'm struggling right now because it's... The first thing with storyboards is it's, you know, the deadline is really important. I mean, you could be really awesome, but if you're falling behind all the time and people can't make their schedule, like... The deadline's not a billion times important. If you're late by a couple days and the work is really good and they don't have to do crazy revisions, they'll be happy for that. But ultimately, you have to be quick, and you have to be clear, and you kind of have to, really know what you're doing. But that stuff you can build up. I mean, it's going to be hard, but you can. It's definitely. It's doable. I mean, I don't think I'm an art genius and I'm able to handle this. So, I mean, proceed with caution because it's going to be a lot of hard work, but it's... I mean, you're handling the entire artistic direction and acting of a show. I don't think it would be easy. But Tim, I mean, I'd say if you're not sure about getting into full boards yet, start with board revision work, because then you get to start off slow, you get to work on a show, you get to see what mistakes are made. This is how I started. I started doing board revision, and that way I was able to see boards coming in. I was able to see what things clients and directors looked for and wanted to fix. I was able to... you know, do a couple panels and do pieces and chunks, and I didn't have to deal with a whole entire deadline, but I could work with a sequence that needed to be reported. So it was manageable, and just working with people to definitely just learning what mistakes to avoid will help you with figuring out how to do full boards. So if you're not sure, and my recommendation to everyone interested in boards is try and get a board revision job. They pretty much every studio that has an in-house group will need that to get the project going smoothly. So board revision.
There you go.
Do it. See if you like.
Also, just try it anyway. So, like, there's no, like, honestly, saying getting into animation. There's no commitment. It's in the sense it's like, oh, God, I got in and I'm stuck forever.
Yeah.
Because you'd be lucky if that was the case, if you kept being given jobs. You know, if you're stuck in animation, that means you're working. Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of like,
I was planning
so many offers.
This summer, like, we were like, we're going, after I finished up on Wildcrats, I was going to take the summer off and work on Silly Kingdom and go to Comiccon. But then the Barbie movie showed up, and then now I'm on Johnny Test, and then I'm going to go right on to Wildcrats as soon as that's done. So I was like, my vacation. But I'm like, this is awesome. Like, I got to keep working.
It's like, if you're in demand, that's pretty swellsy. So, like, there was the writer of, like...
There are worse problems to have.
There are worse problems to have than not being
really employable.
Everyone wants me.
Life sucks.
The writer of, like, The West Wing, like, the head writer, he also, like, wrote a whole bunch of other shows. And at the time, basically, he was doing running, like, 5 shows at once. Because he knew any day now he's going to be obsolete. No one's going to want his, because they want the next hot writer. Like, even John K. ran to that crap where it's like, we want the new John K.
We want the next John K.
I am the John K. What are you doing here? Like,
I think a lot of people's problems with the animation industry comes down to maybe dealing with some of the production type people who run things. But, I mean, I've always had pretty decent experiences. I mean, people are people.
There's always a chain
I had a good
reaction
example.
schedules.
I was thinking... Michael J. Fox was doing Back to the Future and that TV show.
Family Ties?
Yeah, Family Ties at the same time.
Cool.
Like, that's exhausting.
Yeah, man.
And he's such an energetic, like, adorable kid in Back to the Future. Oh god, because he's a high school kid in that movie.
And supposedly he was like 20 something. No, he was like 20 something in Back to the Future. He wasn't high school. No one. The only like. Even the ones who look like they're high schoolers aren't. Like,
oh, Grease?
Super bad was
Have you seen Grease lately?
Oh yeah, Grease is ludicrous.
They're all 18. They look like they're 30.
Sandy!
Like they all have jobs and like kids. And,
you know, like...
But yeah, Adel Court says no matter what the job is, there will always be a learning curve. And
oh yeah.
Yes, that is absolutely correct.
Unless you're hired to do what you do best.
Then you can always get better.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, just do it. That's always the bottom line to find out if you like, you know.
Well, yeah, when I first got the board offer to work on Wildcrats, and that was my first full board, they're like, do you want to do it? And I was like, I don't know if I'm ready. And it was like, just do it.
Honestly, you're never ready. Because if you're sitting there and someone offers you, and you're just like, oh, I'm ready for that. Yeah, well, you're never going to be ready then. Because there's never a good time for it. Sometimes there's a good time for things. But you're never truly like 100% for anything until you start trying to do it. So it's like, if you're offered some work, just like, go for it. Give it a shot.
Or something I was reading, it's not fake it till you make it, but fake the confidence. Not fake that you have the abilities, because then it's like, sure, I can hand in this board in 4 weeks. And you're like, I don't even know how to draw. But like, you know, if you've got the skill and you can pretty much handle it, you know, just imagine you're a confident person and do what they would do. And just
believe in me that believes in you.
Yeah, what? Is that a song?
No, that's from like Gurren Lagann or something.
Oh, yeah.
Believe in the me who believes in you.
That's cute.
But it's that kind of thing. Like I've known a lot of people who like were asked, "Can you do this?" It's like, "Sure," and then that night they open some tutorials and like, "All right, let's figure this out quick."
Yeah.
So there you go. Just go for it. Connect 4. That kind of deal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's so many, and like we said, the internet, there's so many ways you can... I remember even when I was at TAFI, the Toronto Animation Arts Festival, and one of the panels was independent animators, and I forget the name of 2 of the guys on the panel, but they ran like they do music videos and animated shorts, and they were very much like, hey, can you guys do this weird stop-mo puppet stuff? And they're like, sure. And then they just like, how do we do this? What do we need? And then you just figure it out, and you experiment and have fun with it.
Yeah, like if someone, like in my case, if someone came up to me and be like, can you do this full 3D animated, you know, like figure? I'm like, no, because even me, like I know my limitations at this moment. Me trying to learn that in a week would not happen. But if they're like, can you do something complicated kind of like that in the software you already know, it's like, okay, that's my learning curve, because at least I know the software. I can try to figure out how to pull that off within that. You know,
you don't want to totally lie, because it's
you don't want to get yourself in a spot.
Super dishonest and can't get it done.
I can't do any of this.
But I mean, if you know you can figure it out, and well, yeah, I mean, sometimes it is. It's like Neil Gaiman with getting into journalism, saying
that was genius.
Because sometimes it's like you can't do this unless you have this experience, and it's like, well, how do I get this experience unless like I have this experience? You know, how do you get an entry-level job that requires 3 years of experience? It makes no sense.
You gotta fake it.
So sometimes you do gotta fake it till you make it.
It was easier back then, though. Back before. See, we talked about.
That was like back in the day when people used to just stroll right into Disney, and the old men would be like, "Come on in, we'll teach you to draw." And
back in the day,
you go in and they'll kick you out.
Spielberg just like walks into the lot and just said, "You grab a camera, you act," and they're like, "I guess this guy's a director."
Yeah.
You know, it's like back in the day, no one needed credentials. You just showed up.
Well, now you have the internet.
Now people can track you down and see, like, wait a minute, his LinkedIn is not nearly as fruitful.
Your LinkedIn.
So it's that kind of deal. You know, we talked about the pros of technology. Now the cons of technology is you're too trackable. And it's like, you didn't work for Fun Magazine. It doesn't even exist. I'm like, crap.
Big fat
now they know I don't have fun.
Stupid Fun Magazine.
I know. But, yeah. You go for it. What else we got going on here? That said, I've been having trouble finding decent info on how to use Photoshop's animation tools.
All I know is really simple sprite stuff.
Yeah, Photoshop's animation is more meant for like GIF type stuff. YouTube.
I mean, it's all layers. It's kind of...
It's kind of complicated. I've tried... making animated GIFs is one of like the hardest things. Because like After Effects doesn't do it properly, so you got to use Photoshop, and then that means you have to import a video and break it into frames and say how long you want each frame to be, and then it takes hours and crashes your computer. Not good at all.
Yeah, I didn't really know they had a...
Yeah, they do have an animation section. It's like, it's not even like Flash. It's basically just sequential frames, which is good too if you just want to like practice animation with like even on paper, if you just scanned it and you want it to be sequential and you don't want to have to like get a whole new software. Because like After Effects pretty much does everything you can ever want. aside from true 3D and some particle stuff. But as far as like sequential, you can import any file type and tell it to be this many frames and go by this fast.
Proto, why are you using it?
What?
Is it what your company wants you to use?
Frame by frame.
She says it takes so long. Why aren't you use like a
Flash?
Well, what else can you? I guess what else can you animate?
Flipbook or something like.
Because it's iPod game teaser. I guess you're dealing with a lot of textures and things.
It's weird to do it in. I'd recommend like After Effects over Photoshop.
They want animation that Flash isn't adequate for.
Yeah, After Effects is the next evolution of Flash. Basically,
but
if you like
Photoshop
Effects? And you like keyframing from Flash, you could put in After Effects. But if you want to draw it, yeah, Photoshop is better for drawing.
Yeah, like you can't draw After Effects.
But
there needs to be some kind of in-between program.
Yeah, using both of them.
Okay.
You basically use Photoshop to make your drawings, and you bring them into After Effects to sequence them.
They want traditional animation.
And the cool thing is you can also like still access, like you can, say you did this, say you had your Photoshop and you had your 50 layers of images, you can bring that whole thing into After Effects and then modify, like put all each layer in, then you can re-edit them while they're still in After Effects. It's great. It's perfect. They figured it out.
Adult Court says, is Toon Boom a possibility?
Oh, it's always possible.
Proto?
Oh, I don't know about for the project, but Toon Boom's always a possibility.
Toon Boom's pretty expensive.
Oh, no, it's not a possibility.
I think.
No.
Someone was telling me something, I forgot what it was. It was a studio I've worked at before. They use Flash exclusively. And I guess a Toon Boom representative went to them to be like, hey, do you want to use our program? But it sounded really weird how they did it. It was like, they didn't give them a price for what the program would cost, but they were like, what is the budget for your show? And we'll take this percent. I'm like, is that even legit?
Really?
That doesn't sound right.
You can just download the educational copy.
Like, you should just, it's
go.
$1,500 per computer or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, Proto says they never give you an upfront price. That seems weird. It's always a percentage.
You didn't hear it from me, though.
I mean, I guess for a studio that makes sense. If I wanted to buy Toon Boom storyboard for myself, though, or I could probably just buy it for X dollars, but...
Maybe.
Interesting. Oh, by the way, Proto, I mailed you your commission, so it should be arriving in your hometown studio thing within the next couple weeks.
There you go. Perfect.
Haha.
Do we answer everyone's questions, or there's still some queries?
Yeah, did we miss anything?
I know.
We're in a strangely educational mood today.
Yeah, funny that. It's because I haven't lived. So I'm relying on pre-existing knowledge.
Yeah, he doesn't have anything to be angry about this week.
Nothing really got my goat, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like being helpful for once.
What?
Huh? I'm here to help if you need it. I gotta help myself too, though.
Yeah.
I gotta write more.
Yeah, you
Gotta write some things.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, there's so much I want. Oh, I'm so motivated today, but I gotta. It's either I'm gonna be up late tonight or. I think this is the most educational episode yet, says Steve Dare, or we could change that.
No.
About Gone with the Wind.
Adult Court, stop it.
Was that even a musical? No. What was Gone with the Wind?
Gone with the Wind is singing.
No, it isn't.
Wait. It's
Gone with the Wind is the Turn-Ups, and by golly,
it's radishes.
I'll not go hungry. I think it was a lot better than that, wasn't it? So Yagle says, it's nice to learn new things, also helps me unwind. Hey, do you want to learn anything else? What else do I have? What else do I got? Damn. I should know things.
Cooper Design, that's it. I gotta sleep. Good night, Cooper Design.
Good night. I should go to sleep too. What else do I know? I should know things. Okay. I've been learning some new stuff about audio editing. That's exciting. The dynamic. All right. Here's the fun thing. Curves. Who uses curves? Show of hands.
I draw with curves.
Do you? What do you mean?
Curves.
No, but you use like the curves tool. Yeah, that's a curve. That's nice.
No, I don't.
All right, so the curves, as far as levels and coloring go, it's in Photoshop, it's in After Effects, and everything like that. It's basically this bar. It's like this, and you got a line like this, and then you start curving it like this. And I never knew what it did, but I was always told to use it, like watching all the tutorials on Video Copilot or Film Riot, any of those shows about making videos and After Effects. And I always just saw them being like, you just curve here, just curve there, you go. And I'm just like, huh. So I do that, and I just kept doing that, but I didn't understand it. Now what it means, though, actually, is curves is about adjusting what value comes in as what and comes out as what. So, the curve, let's say this was white and this was black. I think that's how it goes in Photoshop. And you have a line down there. What you're saying is, it's hard to explain with fingers.
I'm really confused.
You have a line, see? And when you move the base of it, you're saying, I want this white to be closer to black. And I want this black to be closer to whites. And so you can make curves, though, to say that you don't want it to be so extreme. So you can have, like, I want 100% white to always be 100% white. I want 100% black to always be 100% black. But in the mids, I want the middle tones to be darker, and you pull it down. Or lighter, and you pull it up. And thus it makes a curve.
I think some people use that for line art.
Now, curves aren't just for visual thingamajiggies, like in Photoshop and the art stuff. Curves is also an audio for your EQ, which I just started learning more about, because you can say audio is all about frequencies, and there's low frequencies which are like bleh, and high frequencies like bleh. Perfect example. Now, those all go on a range of frequencies that also you can say, I want the frequencies that are this low to get closer to quiet, because I don't want the rumble in the room, so you curve that down that way. But I want those mid frequencies to get a little louder, so you curve it up this way. I just taught you all about curves using my hands. So go out there and be somebody.
Okay. Make those dreams come true, people.
Because I was terrified about all these features. Like, a lot of the tutorials I watched, they kind of just use things willy-nilly, but they never tell you what they're for.
I mostly just use their drawing tools, so...
Oh, but it's so useful. It's all about... And curves in Photoshop also address, like, different color channels. So there's blue curves, red curves, green curves, all within a certain color. So you can say, I want the shadows to be bluer, but I want the highlights to be a little greener, kind of thing. And it's all about removing blue and adding blue, or removing green and adding green, and stuff like that. And yeah. There's education for you. What else you guys want to know? Why are my commercials in French? I understand.
That too.
I don't know why.
Did they find out we're Canadian?
I want to learn about astrophysics. Go, tell me everything you need to know. Okay, so there's a thing called the space.
Ooh.
Now, in the space, there's a wall, and that's called the end of the universe, and it's really far, so our satellites haven't gotten there yet. So anyway, that's astrophysics. What else we got?
I'd say just I love Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Sure.
deGrasse, yeah, he's a very cool astrophysicist. So Google him, and he'll teach you things.
He's the guy who does this, is it?
He's a badass.
He's a badass.
He doesn't even, he was just explaining it too. He was describing the size of something, but now it's like this meme where he's like, watch out, there's a badass in here.
Well, on top of that, very lately, Bill Nye, the science guy we all know and love, he's been off the chain lately on the internet.
Really?
Laying down some science. All this stuff about like how creationism is like dangerous for our kids and things like that. And it's like, this guy's like, he's out there.
All the facts.
Now, he's out there being like, dude, I've been doing science forever, and there's people who still deny it, and I hate you all. And I'm like, dude, this guy's gone harsh, man.
Really? He's such a happy
He's hardcore, this science guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, he doesn't dick around now. It's his new Disney show.
It's like Bill Nye yells at you.
Bill Nye.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah, he's like, what? And then they remix it with a rap at the end.
Oh, I love those Melody Sheep music raps with like him and Carl Sagan. And
oh yeah,
they're
that was
so cute. And Stephen Hawking's and yeah, Melody Sheep. I think they take their words and they turn it into music.
Yeah, they like
so cute.
Bill Nye practically raised me. I was partially raised by Beekman.
Beekman was
and then
our
the other house was Bill Nye.
Science guy.
Well,
yeah, because I tried to talk to Dad. I'm like, I really like Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's really until he's like, Dad's like, that Beekman guy was. I'm like, but that was like silly science.
No, but these guys are legit. They're teaching stuff because Beekman's World was also on it. And it was arguable. I forget which came first, but I think Disney copied. Not necessarily copied, but it was actually, copied. Because Beekman's World was basically science with sound effects and weird cuts and edits. Because, like, then you take a thing, woo, and it goes here, and it's like,
well, I remember
really
learning
necessary.
about centrifugal force on Beekman's, where it was like they had was it a tray with like a cupcake and a glass of milk on it, and they were whipping it around, and it was just staying still until you finally let it go and it crashes off. And I was just like, that.
There's lots of good stuff.
Looks
And like
so
there's
delicious.
a man in a giant rat suit named Lester.
I mean,
and he'd do things like tear a phone book in half.
That's science.
Yeah, it was good science.
Good science.
I was talking about like where.
Oh, Neil from Art Attack.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah, he also raised me.
Oh,
so 3 guys raised me outside of my parents.
That and PVI glue. Wait, that was a PVI.
Art Attack, that was good.
I love Art Attack.
I don't know if I ever made any though. Maybe one.
No.
One of them was like, you get your crayon, and you put it all over your paper, different colors, and then you paint it all black, and then you get a paper clip, and you scratch off the black paint to reveal your like neon colors, and then it becomes a drawing. You're like, oh. The other coolest one though, if you guys remember VHSs, he took a bunch of VHS boxes, and like painted or designed them up to look like cities at night.
Oh, yeah.
And then taped them all together so they're like all stacked. So then you can put your VHSs, turn it around, and it's like a cityscape.
I did do an art attack
that was
once.
cool.
It was a, I don't know if it was that Chisel Out one, but it was like some kind of winterscape done with pastel. I remember watching the show and doing one. So nice. Love it. That cityscape stuff was fun.
Yeah. I don't do much art anymore. You guys do some art? You guys drawing? Making things?
Arting.
You guys see any movies? Moving on to the less educational topics. Oh, do I have any? That's the same problem with webcomics. It's like if you don't live, it's hard to make them. If I don't live, I can't talk. I could talk about the funnest thing at work is every day. If you've been following my Twitter, Shaggy Shan, my window, I've been adding little figurines each day to the windowsill.
That's
and
cute.
you can see my pictures as the evolution of a new figure. Not new, but one that was in my house, and I just positioned it. And it keeps a new one is there. So there you go.
Fun times.
That's what I look forward to every day at work. Like, I can't wait to put something else there.
Stevie Danner's drawing comic pages right now.
There you go. That's inspirational.
Good.
I should be drawing something right now, too.
You should be drawing.
Well, you're drawing. You're making things.
I'm drawing storyboards.
What else is going on? What's coming up? A couple things are coming up, isn't it? I thought there was.
What's coming up?
Isn't there things coming up?
There is things coming up. Who's going to Montreal Comiccon next weekend?
Montreal Comiccon's coming up. Is it next weekend?
Yes.
Oh.
The
Anyone
14th,
going to
15th,
the Montreal Comiccon next weekend?
Yes.
It's next weekend. It's Montreal.
Well, Montreal Comiccon is next weekend, I believe, and I was going to go originally, but I probably can't because I'm picking up so much work.
I was going to go, but the Zelda Symphony is that weekend,
that's right,
and I bought tickets.
That's right.
And there's no way I'm missing that.
But aside from, I think, Patrick Stewart and William Shatner being there as guests, it's also the Joe Shuster Awards. And our little book here has been nominated for 2 of them. So if you're there and you hear good things, or if we didn't make it, or if you just see stuff or whatever, we'd be happy to hear stuff because we were very excited about this. And good luck to all the nominees. And I was planning on going up till last week, and then just stuff got too busy.
It's tricky. Montreal's tricky.
Joe Shuster Awards, Canadian celebrating comic Canucks.
There you go.
Yay.
That's what it's about. So that's happening. I'm not sure if it happens like in the con or if it's afterwards at like
it's
a dinner.
It's 7 o'clock during
that's after the con,
the show. Yeah. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you don't know your comic history, Joe Shuster is one of the 2 creators of Superman.
There you go. Well, we just got back to educational. How about that? James says I just finished freelance work and I'm just chilling.
Oh,
so
good
James
on
is
ya.
chilling.
I'm going to be chilling next week.
It's funny how we talked about Bill Nye and Art Attack in school today. What do you do at school? You talk about awesome things?
He's going to awesome school.
Yeah, awesome class. I wouldn't mind a little that.
Awesome class.
A lot of people I know are going back to like school either to like learn or to teach.
Yeah, this is first week back at school, so to all
it
students,
is. Who's going back to school, suckers?
kind
You're gonna learn. You're gonna learn some things. Get education.
School's cool.
Better yourself. Speaking of yelling, I've been listening to a lot of comedy lately, as you know. And today I did a bit more of Doug Stanhope, of course, just to brighten up my day. And then I finally started up some Bill Burr, who I haven't actually listened to. But his name was in my mind for some reason, so I finally started listening to him. And he's a silly guy. He does a lot of really high voices, which I can appreciate, because I also do high voices.
Yeah.
So there you go. I have not much else to say, but like I find definitely, well, maybe it's just because it's the work environment. I can't go like bah,
I know.
In the office.
I did that once. I was working at a studio. It was I was listening to Keith and the Girl. And what was it? It was Keith was doing an impersonation of like nerds being angry about something with Batman or something at a Comic-Con, and just the nerd voice was killing me, and I had to run to the bathroom to laugh.
Pause.
And this sucks when at work you can't even laugh because you're gonna disturb people because laughing is so weird. But like I had to like run from my desk like as if I was sick and just be like in the stall.
Yeah. So I don't know if I just have
great.
like.
So that's why I like being freelance now, because I'm just cracking up. I am singing along to music. I'm dancing. I am. If I get too stressed out, I can just have a little freak out, and it doesn't worry anybody.
I kind of miss those days, like when I was home alone, like working out of the house, I just like start yelling and laughing and doing weird things, just running around the house, just doing high voices. I can't really do that, can I?
Yeah.
Mm.
Jean says I laugh at work all the time. Jean, you're adorable though. Like, you should not be ashamed.
You can get away with it.
I am unashamed of my lols from British comedy.
No, they look at me and
Jean's got like the most infectious laugh. Like I cannot. You start laughing and I'm cracking up.
Yeah, but like I don't know if it's once again I don't know if it's because of the work environment or whatever, but like I'm just kind of like listening to comedy these days. Like I don't like really laugh and just like, oh yeah, that was a good point.
You were saying that we weren't talking about this on the last show.
Yeah.
We were a little bit or no?
Maybe we probably did a little bit.
Well, it was what you're. I think we were talking about this afterwards, where you were kind of like, if I'm not laughing and I'm just like, that's a very interesting, biting criticism of society. It's like, is that comedy or
is it comedy or is it observation presented with
comedy
a
though
edge.
because it's yeah.
But it is.
It is comedy though because it's smirking at just how screwed up things are.
Well, I think I came to that conclusion the same thing as like
it's an element of comedy.
A Shakespeare comedy is almost like more tragic than the tragedies because the idea is everything is going so wrong, but people are still going along with it, and that's the humor is like this. It is almost hilarious that everything is going so wrong, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then also you can say the tragedy plus time and it's comedy and stuff. But it's basically you listen to Doug Stanhope. It's just if you can look at it one way and be like, man, our world is just miserable and awful. But at the same time, it's like everything is so wrong, yet none of us are like trying to change it. We're just going along with it, and that's the biggest joke of all. And you're like, so it's comedy.
Yeah, it is.
In kind of a roundabout way.
Well, I mean, because it's making you look at things that are screwed up through like a lens that's like, look at how crazy this is, and that is comedy because you're either crying or you're laughing or you're not feeling anything, and it's like finding the humor in the weirdness and the. I gotta listen to some Doug Stanhope.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I feel like I'm trying to like.
I'll perk you up.
Yeah.
With some Doug Stanhope after day work, when you're on the 16-hour late shift, a little Doug Stanhope doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
And it helps desensitize you. So like nothing shocks me anymore.
Yeah.
People can say crude things, and I'm like, when the audience is like, I'm like, really?
I know. I do find that kind of like I'm pretty crazy desensitized.
Yeah. We need more shocking things.
No, but like, I don't even mean like more shocking, but it's like, oh, you did that to try and get a reaction. Okay.
Well played. It is.
But I mean, there
Yeah, there are things.
There's clever ways of doing things. If you laugh, you laugh.
I think the last comedy which I was laughing out loud was Donald Glover from Community.
Oh, you sent me that link.
Yeah, he did a stand-up set, and he did a bit that just killed me. He's for some reason, I don't want to repeat it here just because it's ruined, but like he's basically talking about the difference between like classic rap and modern rap, and just the way he did it for some reason destroyed me. And I was just laughing for like a good 5 minutes. And
hi, Kristen.
Yo.
Hello.
We have a special guest.
We are live showing.
Nice.
So if you want to be our special guest, or if you want to hide.
How's the Toronto International Film Festival
going? Our friend Kristen over here is
going awesome.
Working for the Toronto International Film Festival.
That's happening.
Hey, maybe you can talk to our audience about that.
Tell them about it.
Scooch on over. Introduce yourself.
What do you want to know?
I don't know.
What's the hot
ticket? What's the movie that everybody's seeing?
I don't know. I haven't.
That's your update for the Toronto International Film Festival.
I'm so far removed from what the big buzz is.
I heard there was a documentary about. Damn it. I heard something today. I can't remember what it was. Oh, wait. No. Maybe. Okay. So Keanu Reeves, I don't know if this is in the festival, but Keanu Reeves is going around and asking people questions. I heard about this.
Is that a question? Are you asking?
I heard there was a documentary about this, and apparently it's like surreal because it's Keanu Reeves, and he's talking to people and he's asking questions. That's all I know about film.
Want to help yourself to a drink or something?
Yes, I will. Thank you.
It gets pretty hot up here.
It is warm up here.
Yeah.
That's coming up. Every September with school coming back is also the Toronto International Film Festival, which I should be blessed to be in the city where it happens, but I have yet to ever attend all these years. But like, to be fair, anything that's there usually comes out of theaters anyway, so it's like, oh, Sweeney Todd's there. I'm like, all right.
But you get to be there with all the filmmakers.
That is true. That would be the benefit. Oh, that's what his TV dinner said. It's about death of film or something. Yeah, it's about him being like, so you're not using film anymore. And Scorsese's like, it's something like that. And he goes, all right. I'm like, this sounds awesome.
It sounds like a best
but yeah,
ever.
like I could see like going to the events like films when like the creators are there is always kind of cool because you get like the extra little behind the scenes and asking questions and even the Paranorman one that we were at, we were just raving about. It was so great, and then we got to have like a little chat afterwards. It's fun. So I can see like the thrill of going to the film festival, but for me it's like there's never a film I'm so excited I want to see it first.
The Tip Bell Lightbox has a lot of film festival screenings all year round too, because Jerry went to see the I just forgot the name of it, the one with the guy flying through the thing, and then there's the baby, and then the obelisk, and
it's the Adventure in Space Fun Times.
No, you guys, it's
2001.
It's 2001 Space Odyssey, and they had the guy who was in charge of visual effects there to give a talk, and that was really interesting.
I saw a video. Who directed that? That was
Kubrick?
Yeah, I saw a video about his single point horizons or something like that.
Horizons.
How he always has like a flat wall at the end of a hallway.
Oh yeah?
And it was basically a montage of all these shots of like hallway shots from like Shining and Platoon or something. It was just like never ending single point, whatever that art stuff is. It was fascinating. One point perspective. What do I know?
Says our buddy Weebot.
What do I know, indeed? But yeah, so that was cool. So look that up. Creepy Porpoise joining us.
Porpoise!
What's going on? How's your day, Creepy Porpoise? Waiting for an answer.
I got a birthday card from one of our buddies, Brian, from the show. And it was a drawing of me riding a creepy porpoise. So you're totally ingrained in...
Creepy Porpoise went swimming, so how about that? There you go.
Classic.
Perfect. Classic Creepy Porpoise.
Oh.
Always swimming. That's my
getting
Patrick
really
Stewart.
hot up here.
It is.
Maybe we can turn on some AC.
Excruciatingly warm. That might be too loud though.
Yeah, maybe we can turn on.
We have so many important things to say.
Yeah, Creepy Porpoise is the show mascot. She was like, "What is this show?" And we're like, "You are the show."
Welcome. What else is coming up? Then we got the film festival, and we have the Zelda show, which I'm excited for. I'll tell you guys all about after I see it. That's
cool.
Next week though. Okay, fine. Gravity Falls update. So. I caught up. I watched 3 episodes because I missed a couple episodes of Gravity Falls. I caught up. Oh man, these were all solid episodes. There was the Pioneer Village Day episode, which was excellent. There was the Double Dipper episode where he cloned himself with a photocopier, which was phenomenal. And then there's a time traveling pig episode. Somehow Gravity Falls gets it right every time. And if you have not watched this. If you've been watching this show and have yet to watch Gravity Falls, you got to get on it because it is honestly the finest television there is right now. Maybe until Game of Thrones comes back on or something, but neither here nor there. Gravity Falls is a show you want to be watching as both an animation enthusiast, as a fun enthusiast, as a writer, as a creator, as someone who enjoys someone who enjoys awesome. Check it out. It's funny. It's got some. There's some secret stuff woven through it too, which was revealed recently, which is kind of cool. Some secret messages. Definitely want to see it. It's my favorite show right now, and I don't even like shows, so take it from me when I say it's my favorite show. You're gonna want to check out Gravity Falls. Now that Katie has left, we got Proto Wilson saying it's great. I completely agree. Have I started watching anything else? I don't know if I talked about it yet. I started watching Better Off Ted because we got Netflix recently. I don't know if any of you have seen this. The show I've never, by the title, it sounds like the worst show ever. But, because I hate titles with puns in it like that. But, it's actually an interesting show. It's basically set in a company that makes things, usually, dangerous things, like war items and stuff, or tries to make them more family-friendly and stuff. It's basically a series that follows the politics and weird. I basically say it's Aperture Science. As a series, because the stuff they do there is basically, if you played Portal and Portal 2, this is basically Aperture Science, the series. And that's whenever I watch it, that's my thinking, because the decisions and the ideas that they execute throughout the series. Best part is also it has the actress from Arrested Development, Lindsay. She's like this weird robot, chill, very cold leader, boss lady. So it's definitely worth checking out. It's something I've never heard of. I never would have looked into it if I didn't have Netflix. But I found myself enjoying it immensely. and I keep coming back for more. I think it ended after 26 episodes, so it might be kind of like Pushing Daisies, just kind of like this weird, fun, unique show that just didn't catch the mass audience. Because like if you haven't watched Pushing Daisies, that's definitely, as even like just for aesthetics, it's definitely worth watching. Very bizarre show about a pie man who has the ability to bring people back to life for a minute, and then they die again. Very interesting show. Once again, maybe a little too niche and didn't really grab the full audience that TV networks need nowadays. So, there you go. Card was an amazing character, though. Wasn't it? Card?
Cod?
Cod.
What are you talking about?
The guy who was like the police, the detective guy who hung out with the pie man.
Oh, yeah.
He was great. Great series. Like, the second season went nuts with the visuals and the deaths.
The Pie Man's coming back as an elf in The Hobbit.
Oh, yeah, apparently, yeah. The Pie Man's in The Hobbit. Oh, yeah, and fun fact, if you listen to the Harry Potter book on tape, narrator Jim Dale was the narrator of Pushing Daisies. So you got to hear his voice every week, which is nice. He's got a good narrative voice. He's like, Harry Potter went to a thing. Today the Pie Man had a problem with... And all the names are so like what was her name? Snook? What's her... Olive Snook? It's all these very, like, storybook names. Kind of like, who was the guy who wrote Willy Wonka, like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Grr.
Roald Dahl?
Names. It's like very Roald Dahl, like how everyone's named and stuff. It's these weird, kind of like weird object, rhymey, weird names. And how people are very thematic. Like there was like a murder at the bee factory or the honey factory. And everyone's wearing like bee clothing or bee colored stuff. And the whole office is a hive, basically.
I remember talking about Pushing Daisies to Jerry, and I forget what my rant was. I was like, it's not like those shows on TV where it's all like murders and investigations and stuff. And he was like, actually it is.
That's
like,
entirely what it is.
But I was thinking like CSI.
It's basically like cartoon CSI.
You turn on the TV and there's a billion CSIs.
It's like CSI if it was a musical. Because
Law and Order.
The actress who plays Olive Snook was Glinda in the original Broadway Wicked. So she sings whenever she can, which is kind of out of place in the series, but oh well. Let's do what you gotta do. Yeah.
Friggin' adorable.
But have you seen Reaper? No.
Nope.
They do comics now, I read. A lot of people did, because it's like, if your series never finished, you gotta finish it somehow. So it's like, Season 8 of Buffy, comics. Whedon wrote it, it's legit. Or you make a movie, like Firefly did. Which confused you because you never saw the series.
I watched the movie first. I watched Serenity and I was like, what's going on? And then I started to really like the series and I was like, why did I watch the movie first?
I still haven't finished the series or watched the movie, so there you go.
Stick with the series, I say.
Yeah, I gotta finish it. So many shows to watch, so little time. I still gotta finish my Eccleston Doctor Who.
You gotta work on stories. That's where your story writing time is going.
See, that's the thing. It's like, what do I spend more time? Watching things for education and entertainment, playing the video games for entertainment and maybe education, writing, sleeping. Speaking of games,
That's what you're most passionate about.
I don't really play games that often, but for some reason, ever since Batman, well, it's not called Batman, it was called Gotham City Imposters, that shooter game, which was all the elevators at our hotel at last year's Comiccon were decorated with this. It went free to play on Steam. And it's basically kind of like, think Team Fortress, but Batman, but not Batman. Because the premise is there's like no Batman or Joker in town for whatever reason. So all these gangs crop up themed after them. But since they're all just like local guys that can't make gadgets, they all just use guns. And it's basically just Call of Duty or Team Fortress with Batman theme. But it's actually, honestly, I had a lot, like I only played for like last 2 days and got to like level 39 in like no time somehow. And I got kind of caught up into it. It's just kind of fun and ridiculous because it's a first-person shooter, of course, but it has like hook shots and capes so you can fly around the level and like land on people. It has roller skates. It has jumpy shoes and stuff. And it's just kind of like, you know, I've actually never played Call of Duty multiplayer, but it's basically like the goofy version of that. So I'm like, all right, I can see why people are into Call of Duty. And I just rather this because it has goofy stuff. It's stupid. So that's my game recommendation for the week. If you're on Steam, check out Gotham City Imposters. Beyond that, I played a bit of Cave Story, I think, which is interesting. I'll talk about it later when I get more out of it.
Good.
Yeah, of course. Also on Netflix. Yeah, I gotta use that Netflix to the max. Did I write anything down? I swear, we talked about Gravity Falls. I don't want to talk about the Super Dogs. Because we went to the X. I'm done with lineups, people. I'm not doing it anymore.
X was really busy.
No, ever since Fan Expo, we talked about Fan Expo last week. Ever since that lineup for 2 hours, I didn't even get a ticket. I'm not lining up. I'm going like Europe. No more lineups. Just run to the front. And shove your money. Queue. No such thing anymore. I'm talking about like Eastern Europe. Because I know England has the queues. But everyone else, man, they just rush up front and say, give me schnitzel. And
do they?
Yeah, we experienced that firsthand, remember? Like in Germany, we're at the gas station. And it was all like, oh yeah, remember Canadians, there's no lines here.
Yeah, just go.
And we're like, well, okay. And I understand why now. Lining up's for chumps. Ugh.
Lineups gives order.
No. No more order.
I wouldn't survive in a world that didn't have lineups. I just got to push to the ground.
That's the thing. While we were stuck in that tunnel, I was trying to assess, like, is there, let's just say everybody in that tunnel at Fan Expo who are going, to recap, the lineup for tickets at this year's Fan Expo was down a parking lot spiral tunnel, and they basically told people to stop lining up and just, like, shove into a mass herd. So the question came to, let's just say everyone got pissed and wanted to rush to the front. At what point can you not physically be a dick anymore, and you just can't even rush any further because there's just too many people? It's like, you shove! It's like, ugh! You know?
It's once panic sets in, then it's like I don't think you can hold it back, because if everybody's pushing, then...
But there's got to be that wall where it's just like there's too much humanity.
Well, if you're all running at a wall, sure.
Yeah. Oh, okay,
if there's a door and you're all fighting to get through,
but there's just no more physical room to shove. So basically, in the end, it's gonna end up as a line no matter what you do. You know?
Yes.
So, there you go. There's no way out of it. There's always a lineup. Creative Board says someone fell off an escalator. No, I don't think so.
I didn't hear about that.
I don't think there was escalators though. Unless there was.
Sounds scary.
I wasn't in the con, so I don't know if that happened.
Yeah.
You had another con story that let's segue to quickly.
Oh.
Because this is the most important story of the night. Pay attention.
No, I only brought it up because I was like, oh, I forgot that story, because I thought it was kind of funny. At the con, there's a lot of really nice costumes and everything like that, and everybody gets really nicely dressed up and goes all out, and I was pretty impressed with it. But in the women's washroom, when you went into one of the stalls and you opened the door, there was like a blue butt print on the seat from someone's, I guess, Navi costume or something. So it was just like this blue butt. Like, huh. And there was also like a fake boob on the ground too. And it's like, score! I can use this.
Oh, you just throw it in your purse.
Yeah, you just let this come in handy later. Just weird things you find at a con.
Many weird things you find at a con.
But I was like, we were talking about Fan Expo last week, and I was like, oh, my blue butt story. Okay.
Yeah, you just missed it. Your
there
opportunity.
You go. I filled you all in on that.
There you go. You lucky.
You didn't even have to be there. We'll just give you the con report.
Probably for the best.
UstreamBot.
Why is UstreamBot talking to us?
Did UstreamBot kick everyone out?
Maybe. Oh well. If it did, we should start wrapping up soon, unless anyone else has other things to say.
Yeah, we have a friend downstairs.
I'm going to live life more, maybe this week, so hopefully we can have more to say later in the shows. What did the bot do? Proto Wilson.
What happened?
Need assistance with the Ustream? What did he do? I don't know what he did. The bot just kind of like showed up and like caused mass panic, things like that. No ads this week. That was helping enough.
That's
really?
Excellent.
Huh. Maybe we have no reason to go to Google Plus now.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's misery. Trying to figure out that software.
Well, I mean, when you're trying to figure it out like 2 minutes
Day of the
before
show,
airtime,
yeah. That could be trouble. It's erratic. Sometimes there's heaps. Huh. Weird.
Annoying.
As far as upcoming products, I didn't have a video up last week because of my hours. I was always at work. Hopefully I'll be able to get one up this week because it's it's not near done, but it's on the computer. The next talking to the camera bits. There's only a few more I want to do actually. So maybe you could say I'm wrapping up the season or something. Whatever my seasons are, wrapping that up. Because it definitely I feel like I can put more time into writing other things if I do less of that kind of panic stuff. So there's only a couple more episodes, maybe 1 or 2 or 3. We'll see what happens after this one. And they're good ones too. I've written them. But it comes down to the same thing. That I want to write more narrative story stuff as opposed to informational or rant themed things. So definitely keep an eye out for some of that. Hopefully this Thursday, if not, maybe next Thursday. Who knows? Because what's happening this weekend? Is there a reason I can't do things?
Probably not.
It might be. I feel like there's something every weekend, but maybe this is the one weekend there isn't.
This is the weekend you should focus.
Yes.
Everybody give him your well wishes. To
Help me be the better me. There's always another comic to write, always another project coming around the corner.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much out of things, so I don't know if you got anything.
No, I think I'm
No?
good to go this week. I gotta get back to this stuff.
You guys got to draw. So unless you guys got anything crazy important to say in the next few minutes, we'll have to start wrapping up. Don't worry, I'll find more things to hate next week.
Why hate?
Because it fuels me. It's like, isn't that what Gene said?
I guess. Your creativity is your yelling.
Maybe. I was doing some writing on the way over here. I'm like, oh,
It's good.
I want to put it on a computer. That'd be fun.
Should do that.
Maybe.
Tonight.
Nah. Alright, well, if no one has nothing else to contribute, how we traditionally end things, of course, is talking about this Books of the Kingdom. We're almost coming up to the 1 year anniversary.
That's right.
It's almost been a year this October. Not the year of the Kicks Indiegogo. The actual book coming
Almost.
out was October, right?
Yeah.
October 8th, was it?
October 8th was
October
when it first
8th.
released.
Yes. So definitely almost a year, and you yourself can get the anniversary edition, which is just the same as the regular edition, but it's a year older than if you first bought it, right? Mm-hmm. You can go to SillyKingdom.com. You can check that out. Order yourself a copy. The full printed version will get you $10. But of course, you get the digital version for $4.
Of course.
Oh yes, of course. Cautionary Tales, Fairy Tales, very solid anthology. You do want to check this out too. Very fine stories from many different creators and writers. And of course, ours is the Tale of Tatterhood, which also you should track down the story yourself if you haven't read it yet. It's very fascinating, very unique
Interesting
folk
fairy
tale.
tale.
Very interesting, and not one. I don't know. It hasn't. No one else seemed to really done anything with it as far as like media wise. There's no like TV special that's like, oh hey, this is the story of a girl who rides a goat and has a giant spoon. Want to check it out? No one else does that. We do that. Check that out, Cautionary Tales, Fairy Tales.
And we are doing a contest. I haven't announced it yet officially, but we'll be announcing the winners. Basically, all you have to do to enter to get both these books for free and a copy of Flight 8, which we have a short story in, is just friend us on the Shanahan.
Those exact copies you're holding right here?
These exact ones in my hand.
My goodness.
And I'm also giving away a whole ton of my art prints from my convention runs. So if you've ever wanted a really nice quality art print, you can put it on your wall or give it to a friend or do whatever. That's what we're going to hand out. And we're going to announce the winners on our 50th episode, which is going to be in 2 weeks. But all you gotta do to enter is just like our Shanahanigans Facebook page, and then we'll choose one random person from there.
True.
And you'll get all this, so you don't even have to buy it. You can have it
Right.
for free.
So if you want everything we talked about every week,
Right
plus
here.
some additional books and art, go to the Facebook Shanahanigans, SHANIJANS.
Yeah.
That's how you
on
spell
Facebook.
it. Go there on Facebook. Be sure to like the page, and you'll be signed up for that contest. And if you're already there, you're good to go.
You're already entered if you're already there.
Yeah.
So,
But it's like to celebrate Katie's tweet following, or was it?
just everything. Just because everybody's been.
Because you've all been so swell.
You guys have been awesome. Like the internet's been really awesome, and it's just we're not making a lot of stuff, but we're super grateful that y'all keep coming back for when we do make stuff. So we just want to say thank you.
Cool. So be sure to check out that page. Like that. As always, check out Twitters. We got Katie Shy. We got Shaggy Shan. The YouTube. Look up Shanahanigans. There's videos there. We're putting old episodes there too. And anything else?
Nope.
Yeah. 50th episode's coming up.
That's it.
We should do something special.
We'll do something special.
Maybe.
We'll figure something out.
All right. Cool.
Okay. Bye, guys.
We'll see
I
you
guess I
guys hopefully next week on Wednesday.
All right. Stop recording
Yeah, sure.
or stop progress.
Broadcast. Why not?
Bye, guys.